step forward.
Welcome to the Then and Now podcast, greatest podcast in the world, universe, multiverse, and all of that good stuff. Today we are going to be covering the next two episodes of our Batman Unburied series. We are at episodes 5 and 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
5 and 6. So we've been waiting to get to this one. Obviously, I think Otis is waiting for us to get to this one in particular. For the big reason being, we'll just start with it because I know the Winston do Batman.
I am Batman.
Visiting hours are... Oh, it's you.
It's me.
Everyone's accounted for, Batman. We've been running a pretty tight ship, so...
Hugo Strange, head of psychiatry. Where is he?
That's a better Batman voice movie. That is a better Batman movie.
Please cough drop.
that was... Ow. I'm sorry, Dev. Go ahead. You do the thing. Go ahead.
No, that's... Okay, we'll start with that really quick before anything else. We'll just knock that out. It's bad. I'm not going to deny it's bad. But I've heard worse. I love Christian Bale, but Christian Bale is just so egregious. I'm just like,
is it worse?
It's not worse. It's not to me. I'm saying I think Bale is worse than the Winston Duke one to me.
I don't know if I can agree. Don't get me wrong. You guys know how I feel about Bale and him specifically as Batman.
We do.
I don't know if I can say that was necessarily worse than this. Like
I
feel like they're both equally bad.
I don't think anything equates to swear to me. Like heavy. I don't hear any of that in there.
The thing about it is, like, spoiler alert, we're recording this on the Tuesday where episodes 7 and 8 dropped. And then 7 and 8, I don't know if Otis or Dev has listened to it yet.
I have not.
So there's a lot of Batman. Batman voice in these episodes. And I was like, wow. It was like, man, you could tell that Winston Duke was like coughing after each take. Like, it was such a strain on his voice. It is bad. And I know Otis has beef with the Bale. I know that Dev has a soft spot for the Bale as the Batman. But there is no question. This is the worst. Calling it a Batman voice is like, if you just heard that, you think, oh, this is a like a Tony Todd monster type of creature in a movie. This is meant to be the horror thing from the next, Sam Raimi flick of the 80s. It is. I don't know who heard that and said, "Okay, here's your money."
It's like, I'm rocking with that.
I don't know where this obsession came from of like him needing to disguise his voice, because I don't think they've ever had that be a thing in the comics before. He just like talked or didn't talk. Like Batman in the comics and again in a lot of the animated series is a man of few words, and he only really speaks a lot to people that kind of already know his identity or that he's familiar with already. But to regular people, he's not really talking a lot. Even if you see him at crime scenes with Commissioner Gordon, he'll talk to Gordon a little bit, but not even a lot. He'll kind of just like hover around shit and analyze shit.
Right.
I don't think he speaks enough for people to be able to like, recognize, oh, this is Bruce Wayne. And even when he's Bruce Wayne, like you heard in the animated series, he's like, oh, hey guys, how you doing? I'm Bruce Wayne. Like he's happy and go lucky, which is the complete opposite of Batman, where people wouldn't really put that together.
So you just answered your own question kind of right there. I'm not sure if you guys into the commentary for Batman the Animated Series for season 1, Kevin Conroy and Bruce Timm kind of came up with the idea of Batman should have a different voice than Bruce Wayne. It doesn't have to be over the top, but if Bruce Wayne is always around Commissioner Gordon, all the people of Gotham, everything like that, he can't sound the exact same where someone will put two and two together.
Right.
So that's kind of when they came up with the idea of he has to sound different. Adam West in the old show always sounded just the same way. Super Friends Batman, same way. But Kevin Conroy and Bruce Timm, like he can't sound the same in a cartoon. He has to have a different.
Like it's like 2022 though. Like at this point, just put a voice modulator on something.
That sounds worse to me. I hate the voice modulator.
I would take that over whatever the fuck we got from Winston Duke this time. Like
that's there's gotta be a happy medium, or just change a little bit, or just kind of drop it. Like Michael Keaton, when he did his voice, it wasn't like over the top. It was just
Keaton's was fine. Yeah,
it was fine. It was similar.
Clooney's was okay to me, honestly.
I can't
Did
process.
he change his voice?
I don't remember.
He kind of just did the animated series thing where like he didn't change his voice. He just like said stuff in a different tone. Like even with Kevin Conroy, to me, it's more of like a tone of the voice more so than like changing the voice all around.
You know, I actually did check this against any musical sounds. Computer still can't come close to pinpointing it. Hey, what's up, Doc?
Yeah, it's a tone. Yeah, that's all it takes. It's a tone. Yeah, because you're not expecting it to be Bruce Wayne, but it can't sound exactly like him. Would throw people off. But I can't. You brought up. I want to go ahead and put that on the record now. Otis, go ahead and chalk this up. Davis brought up Batman and Robin twice on this podcast, and so it's one more strike and you're out, brother. One more strike.
Childhood. Nostalgia.
I mean, when did that come out? I feel like wasn't that 90s?
It was the 90s.
Early 90s, yeah. I had it on VHS.
It was the 90s. I remember the Bone Thugs and Harmony song.
Had that on CD.
That was the only good part of that movie, kind of.
My stepfather was an avid Bone Thugs and Harmony fan, so I heard a lot of that growing up.
It wasn't Uma Thurman.
I know. And we, by the way, we spent more time right now talking about that movie than anyone ever should.
Getting that voice out the way, these episodes to me were okay. I feel like as the mystery is starting to kind of die down on everything and things are starting to come to light, I'm getting not less interested, because it's still like the sound quality and the voice acting is still top notch from all the other characters. The story to me is getting very much so more predictable. I know Otis had a thing with that about the story being predictable. It was different to me. Like, again, it was somewhat predictable still, but it was different. Now it's not different, and it's getting into like the typical Batman thing now. For spoiler alert, going forward, we're going to be spoiling the story for people that came for that in particular. So if you haven't seen it, leave, watch it, and
listen to it. You haven't listened to it either. Yeah.
Oh, listen to it, seen it, listen. You know what I mean. Yeah. So for people that don't know, Hugo Strange has been.
I mean, he was, but he wasn't.
He kidnapped Bruce.
Involved, and
he's involved. But like, put it this way, like by the end, when they actually got to his office, like, I mean, he's dead and blood.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, super spoiler.
In regards to like the events up until that point, in regards to him being in a coma, him being kidnapped, the harvester being a thing.
Yeah.
Until there's probably a bigger plot later on, but as far as all the shit up to that point, he has been like the mastermind of that, or of that immediate thing.
He's been a piece of that. And we don't know he's the mastermind.
Yeah, he's been a part of it. He's been an accomplice. He would go to prison for some time.
Yes, he's definitely getting some jail time.
Get some jail time. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get into that in a second. We'll get to that point. But in regards to Hugo Strange has been revealed. I think that's one of the people we had predicted initially. It was like him. The Riddler was also in there. Professor Pig, Mad Hatter, Callan, a couple people. So that was cool to see. Did you guys have any? How did you guys enjoy this Hugo Strange performance? Because I only performances I have from that character in particular from the Arkham City game and from the Batman series when he was in that too, which are to me two pretty good portrayals of the charter.
Sure. I mean, he is in the Batman animated series a little bit here and there too.
He's also in not Justice League. What is the show that Young Justice?
Young Justice, yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So one thing I know is funny because the voice actor is Jonathan Rhys-Davies, who was, for those who don't know, he played Gimli in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the original trilogy. He also was Sala. Yeah, you obviously know Gimli. Notice.
Yeah, I just didn't know that was him.
Oh yeah, that's him. And he also was Sala. For those who don't want to know what he looks like, he was Sala in the Indiana Jones original trilogy, the first one and the third one. So I'm a fan. I've been a big fan of that actor for a long time, and the way he portrays Dr. Hugo Strange. I'm going to call him Dr. Strange, but that seems off-brand. Dr. Hugo Strange. I'm a big fan of it, actually. Like my favorite portrayal of Hugo Strange is Jonathan Rhys-Davies.
Got you.
Yeah, he did a good job. I wouldn't say he didn't have enough. Well, not screen time because there's no screen. But I mean, he didn't do anything to like necessarily push forward the role to anywhere different. But I mean, he definitely he said what he needed to say. He created the tone that perpetuated the series, and he made sense in the role.
Yeah,
all right. He sounded really similar to it maybe I don't know if he did it in the Arkham game as well, but to the guy that portrayed him in the Arkham game, he sounded really similar to me. Maybe I was freaking out on show. Like I heard, I was like, damn, this is the same dude. Anyway, that was
It's
a big thing for me. I enjoyed that character. That's why I wanted to get into him for a tad bit.
I do too. What's funny about Hugo Strange is in his other portrayals, like in the animated series and Arkham games, somewhat in Young Justice too, he seems more openly nefarious. Like you can tell I shouldn't trust this dude. However, in this series, just listening to him, maybe it's because I'm a fan of Johnny Davies, he doesn't sound devious. Like if I was in a session with him, I wouldn't be distrustful of what he's trying to help.
Shit. Well, maybe I'm thinking about the moment in particular when he revealed himself is probably what I'm.
Of course, someone like tells you like, by the way,
Right. He was like, "Oh, I'm the guy that kidnapped you. I've been hacking your brain." Like, I mean, it's obvious, but like, I mean, just hearing him talk, I don't just immediately think bad guy.
Because he was a therapist the whole time, right? Yeah.
No, not necessarily a therapist. He's the lead psychoanalyst.
No. I'm saying like it's in that the whole simulation of like Bruce, like he's therapist.
He's talking. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like again, I didn't know that was him the whole time, which is, you know what's fucking hilarious? The PNG I used for him in that first episode was a Hugo Strange PNG I threw in there just for fun, not even knowing that was him. That's fucking hilarious. That's crazy.
You didn't know? Oh, really?
I did not know. That was the first.
Weird...
That was the first review we did, and I'm like, you know what? Who's a therapist in Batman?
Oh my god!
You get a psycho plus like a psycho killer in Gotham. Hugo Strange is gonna be involved.
Yeah,
like,
if you type that in,
right.
Yeah, if you type in psycho killer doctor in Google right now, you'll see he was.
I just typed in DC therapist, and he popped up, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, perfect. We'll use him.
What's funny about it too is how he looks just like, I know y'all know Animaniacs. It's like a mold for like Dr. Scratch and Sniff. Like if you have like a kind of a psychoanalyst shrink, that's kind of the mold they look like. That guy.
But yeah, moving on from that, and because getting into the story so far, I know Otis said it was very predictable to him the whole way through. It was somewhat predictable, not extremely, until everything was revealed in the 6th episode to me. Ethan, did you see a lot of this coming at all? Like, what point did you start predicting stuff moving forward? Because we're all familiar with the source material.
We're all familiar with source material. I'm tragically bad at, I mean, y'all know this. Maybe it's willfully obtuse. I am very bad at predicting things, so I usually just try not to. So I thought at one point, it seems like Dr. Hugo Strange might be involved with this, but I wasn't too certain of it. I was trying to stay as open-minded as possible. So no, more or less, I wasn't really looking for who would be involved. And I was still, when it was revealed, I wasn't like, oh, of course I knew. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
I will say I was slightly underwhelmed a little bit with the reveal, because I thought they were doing something more out of the box with him being a coroner, or what was it, a pathologist?
Forensics pathologist.
Forensics pathologist, and his parents being alive. I'm like, all right, cool. They're doing something new. They're doing something different. And then I saw Barbara just being a detective. I'm like, all right, cool. And it was cool for a minute, but then that reveal, I'm like, man, they had a chance to do something really different and kind of just like reverted back to the typical Batman story mold that they kind of have for a lot of the different stories. So that was kind of disappointing for me in particular.
And that's fair, but what I will say, like Otis said,
like the 2 episodes ago.
But I guess the thing is though, it's not over, because he is dead at the end of episode 6, and having heard episode 7 and 8, it's like, oh, okay, there is more to it. It's not
probably quarter hours.
Yeah, it's not that simple. I mean, we all love quarter hours, but
probably what it is. Like, if 9 times out of 10, if Hugo Strange is being like a pawn for somebody, it's somebody like Raish, the Court of Owls, like people that are like that high up in that stratosphere, and there's not too many people there. Right, so like, if it's not him, we know probably who it is.
Because if you think about it, up to episodes 5 and 6. Think about Batman's rogues gallery. He has some big ones. I mean, big ones like A-listers that haven't made appearances yet. All right. So I won't tip my hat any more than that. So it's not outside the realm of possibility that some of them are involved in some way or another.
Sure, I'll check them out. For me, his rogues gallery, because they're all so eccentric, they all have like their signatures, and unless they change those characters up significantly, which up to this point, no one has been changed up significantly. I feel like we'd know. Maybe the only one we couldn't really guess to me would probably be like Bane, because he's such an intellectual. Right. But besides him, like everybody else are like psychopaths with like their signature things, and they're kind of loud and there, and you kind of know them from their introduction.
Yeah, that's fair. And one thing that I realized as well is that because of the nature of how this was presented to us, it's hard to get a beat on the time period. Like you'd say, oh, this has to be in the future when Batman's been a crime fighter for who knows how long. And we've heard no signs of Robin. Also, Barbara Gordon isn't Batgirl. I don't know if it almost seems like she might become Batgirl after this. It also seems like Commissioner Gordon has been fired, so I guess it's in the future. We don't know. So
retired
/ fired. It's hard to get a beat on where this actually is. So it's also leaving the door open so that there could be other villains that Batman is yet to meet that could show up later on. So just putting that out there too.
Plus, I believe Batman had taken somewhat of a hiatus at this point, because they said something about, I think one of the cops when they were shooting at him or whatever else, like, oh, the Bat's back. So I'm assuming that he took some of a break.
In the time that they thought Bruce Wayne was dead, he was dead. Gone.
So yeah, from the time period that Hugo Strange had him under his control, it was out of commission. That's, I think, what they're referring to that period.
Which I don't know how long was that period then, because that was,
I don't know.
It could have been that long then.
Days. It was several days, because Vicky Vale has already had it in her brain completely that Batman is dead. Alfred said he's been looking for Batman for a while. So it hasn't been a short period of time. It's been long enough. Yeah.
All right.
And put it this way, if Batman is usually out on the streets every night and he misses a week, that doesn't seem significant,
That's crazy. That's wow. He has to be in that bitch every. You can't have no nights off. When the city's like, nigga, where have you been? Niggas are dying right now.
Right.
People are getting murdered.
Yeah, and that's what he said. The Court of Owls. For those who don't know, in the Court of Owls storyline, he gets slight spoiler for Court of Owls. He gets more or less kidnapped and put into a labyrinth for 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, it's from the animated movie they did.
Is there an animated movie with the Court of Owls?
Yeah, with Damien. I think it's just called Batman versus Robin, or I think is what it's called.
Oh, really? I have not seen that one. But I know in the comic, it's decent. Okay. But in the comic book, he's in a labyrinth for at least a week and a half, 2. It's long enough that all of them are looking for him for a while. Where is he? What's going on here? So if you to back up Dev's theory that the Court of Owls will be involved with this, that would make sense, because they did do it in the comic book.
On top of that too, they wanted Hugo Strange was after Bruce Wayne's vault. He wasn't after Batman. He just kind of found out he was Batman as a byproduct. So I don't know anyone else besides the Court of Owls, who are, again, a collection of wealthy people that have access and knowledge to the secret things of Gotham going on, that would want to get into that vault of what Bruce said was weapons that he wouldn't want in anyone's hands going forward.
Which, let's talk about that real quick. That was a cool idea that he said there's 3 types of keys, essentially. There's an item that you have, an actual a badge or whatnot. There's either the retinal, some kind of DNA, a retinal scan, or there's a password that you know. And his is a mind key, and a mind key is it's based off an emotion from a memory that you have that only your brainwave can replicate. It's a very cool idea. I'm not sure if that actually exists. I mean,
it can't. I don't think anyone can scan brain waves. I don't think we have a lock that. Oh, you thought that? All right, open up.
Right.
I think it's more so like a certain memory creates a certain type of pattern.
Sure.
Because it's with the brain, different parts of your brain react and flare up for different things that you think about, different things that you do.
Yeah, so how does it work? You put a helmet on and it just yep, I had that thought now.
right, yeah. Yeah, that's what it would be. You actually see him put on an actual Professor Xavier cerebral helmet or something. Yeah.
The nigga has wild ass technology. If that nigga has technology to take out the Justice League in this universe, we don't even know if the Justice League is a thing yet, but we've seen him with crazier technology.
Oh yeah. He has stuff that doesn't. I mean, his Batmobile by itself is just impossible.
Right.
So yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. He has a brain scanner, like a brainwave scanner or something like that. But I thought it was interesting. Like you said, I liked it as well. I don't think I've seen anything like that in any comics that I've seen of him.
No.
And we're a vote with that. So I thought, again, throughout this series, they have stints of innovation throughout it.
Yeah.
But I'm just again, it's a missed opportunity you had there.
Yeah, I agree. But one thing that's interesting, though, as you pointed out there, Dev, is that Hugo was looking to get kidnap Bruce Wayne to get his mind wave key thing to open up a door that Bruce Wayne knew about. And I'm curious, why would he think that what would he think Bruce Wayne has that's so valuable besides just money? Because he didn't know he was Batman. So why would he seek out Bruce Wayne's vault? Is Hugo Strange as a petty thug?
My guess would be it's something that his parents had that he found that he put away that the Court of Owls knew about, because again, I think in more recent issues of Batman Runs, they've made it to where like Batman's parents were part of the mob, or probably in this universe they're probably part of the Court of Owls at some point or something like that. Or they've always, I think in one of the, there's one of the DLCs in the Arkham series in which Batman, Robin's reading out a rhyme, or a bedtime story or some shit like that, in like detailing the Court of Owls and kind of like making people weary of them and watching out for them or whatever else. And it's something that Dick said that Bruce's parents read to him as a child.
I think it's Arkham Knight, right?
Yeah, it's Arkham Knight. It's the DLC. It's the DLC whenever Batgirl gets kidnapped, I believe.
Yeah.
But like just knowing that I don't know, maybe that'll be the case. That's my guess, because again, like I feel like it's very predictable going forward now. Because I know they're probably involved at some point, and then knowing Gotham Knights is coming out relatively soon. We know how DC and Marvel like to do with dropping content related to the stuff coming out.
So yeah, just on the heels of that, just keep in mind that, because you're gonna see it as soon as you hit the next episode of what's going on here. So just just be aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, without knowing what's happening in the next one, like, I mean, it's apparent that Hugo got onto Bruce Wayne sent because of someone else. He's working for someone. It wasn't like his own idea to just hack Bruce's brain to do this.
That's probably right. Yeah.
Somebody else knows what's in that vault. Do they necessarily know that he was Batman? Possibly, but my guess is no. But it's someone that has enough information on Wayne Tech, like the company that he works for.
Right.
That is engineering this plan. It's not Hugo Strange. And that's one thing I actually do kind of appreciate about this, is that they are, at least to a degree, trying to do things to make it so like, it's not immediately like when you think of something like this, how the Harvester works, Riddler, someone that come to mind, Hugo Strange's manipulation is something that comes to mind. Well, I mean, and they intentionally made so that it can't be them that is the mastermind behind this.
Right.
So I do appreciate that much. I mean, I'm curious to see who it is, but like I don't like. Again, this isn't necessarily an original story. It's just another Batman whodunit at this point.
Sure.
Which
I'm always a fan of whodunits. I just wish they would have tried to make it different than the normal Batman whodunit.
Yeah, it's hard. I guess at this point too, it's hard to surprise people. I'm trying to think of the last, and for you guys too, what was the last murder mystery movie or story that you got to get a chance to read or see that completely surprised you, caught you off guard, hit you from the left, kind of thing?
I wouldn't say caught me off guard, but Knives Out with
I have to say Knives Out
with
too.
Evans. I really enjoyed that one. I thought that was really well done, really cool.
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah,
I wanted to see it.
It might still be on Amazon Prime.
Amazon. I think that's why I saw
might still
it.
be on there.
It's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. Keith Stanfield's in it. Chris Evans is in it. There's a lot of big heavy hitters in that one.
Yeah.
So you call Keith Stanfield a heavy hitter?
Now, yeah. I mean,
he's
big stuff lately.
He's pretty
really good stuff lately.
He's been pretty mid stuff to me, but I mean,
he's a name. He's definitely a name.
He is a name, sure.
He's a name. And Daniel Craig, obviously, James Bond is in there too. It's fun because you have James Bond and Captain America. But the thing about it is that I won't get into any details with Knives Out, but Knives Out is a movie that knows the tropes of detective stories or murder mysteries. It's like, well, how about we actually give them to you, but this? It's like, oh, okay. All right, I see what you did.
Yeah.
So
to come back on track for the episode reviews in particular, I wanted to get into to me, I feel like the highlight of these two episodes in particular, and probably the last two before that, being the interactions between the Riddler and Barbara. Mm-hmm. Their dialogue to me is really well written. Whoever's writing the screenplay did an amazing job of kind of like diving into the dichotomy of like how the Riddler thinks and his motivations, as well as Barbara's motivations for doing what she does, and how they kind of play off each other. And up until this episode, we see how she details her father retiring and that whole little story she gave with her dad being tired and being like dead in the eyes. And I was like, damn, that is a really good monologue to me that I really enjoyed.
It's perfect. I mean, I'm gonna say it again. My favorite part of this podcast has been Barbara Gordon, and my favorite part has been their buddy cop writing and relationship overall. That's the best part. It's the highlight for me.
Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead.
It's like this has been, well, I wouldn't say more of a Barber story, but it's like when it comes to like things that happen in the real world of events, like Barber's been highlighted pretty heavily here, and I'm okay with that just because, like, I mean, again, we have infinite content on Batman. We know who Batman is, so getting to see the perspective of somebody else around the, it's needed.
Right.
But again, it's like another fucking Batman story. Jesus Christ, bro. Like,
They gotta do. So there's a new drinking game. Every time Otis says another Batman, another fucking Batman story, you have to drink. However, once you pass out from getting drunk, you can stop. You can stop drinking.
Right. Riddler in particular too. He I know you guys didn't watch it, but I watched like the entirety of the Gotham series.
You didn't watch it either. The Gotham. Oh, why? I think talking about the series. It's like you can't watch this series. It's an audio.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, fuck no.
In regards to Gotham, like this Riddler is extremely like similar to the Riddler from that story, and like the way the mannerisms, the way they go about speaking, the thought processes. Again, I was a fan of that. I think that's the best version of the Riddler. Well, no, never mind, because it's a new movie, but he's right behind that guy.
Interesting. Okay.
But it's just because they develop the character of the Riddler. He's not just a plot device of Batman. Like, he's a character himself.
Right.
And getting into his motivations and things like that. So I really enjoyed those two in there. Again, Hassan Minaj was the guy that played Riddler. Did a great job. I can't remember. Was it Laura Stern? I can't remember her name.
I think it's Ashley. Isn't it Ashley something?
That girl.
Ashley Benson, I think, or something. I'll look it up.
I can't remember exactly. But
she's too dope not to get any kind of credit.
Yeah, she's looking that up. Yeah, they're dope. Again, I think this series is just a compilation of different Batman stories and content that's going to be pulled together in a compilation of them adding in their own little slight twist, which is why it's kind of mid. It's like to me, it's like a 6.5 to maybe a 7 so far for me. To where like I'm entertained and it's cool, but nothing's blowing me away about it in particular yet.
That's fair. By the way, it's Ashley Birch. Ashley Birch plays that
Shout out to her. Shout out to her. She's doing an amazing job.
Out to her. So one thing that's interesting, I know Otis has mentioned several times how he's sick that it's a Batman story, but there's a Batgirl comic book as well. But this particular story, there is no Batgirl. It's basically Detective Barbara Gordon story. Mm-hmm. So it's fun to see what it'd be like to have an actual real detective in Gotham doing stuff with an actual psychopath running around, and with Batman on the outskirts and having to team up with another psychopath, that kind of stuff. It's a very interesting idea.
So a better version of Gotham.
I didn't want to say it. I wasn't going to say it. I knew like that show. You're my boy, but
no. Again, the show. I will admit the show has a lot of faults. There are a lot of great positives within that, which is why I was hooked and watched the entire thing in its entirety. The entire thing in its entirety. I was gonna say I was gonna let that go too. Double, yeah. Literally, I think top 3 best things about that. Maybe number 1 was the fact that you had Detective, I'm gonna say Jeff Gordon. Jesus Christ. Jim Gordon, and him like being
to lie down for a while.
Him just being a detective in that city, and like before they get to the crazy people at the end, but like initially just hunting down murderers and hunting down criminals like that on the grounds, getting to see the inner workings of Gotham is really dope. So any story like that where you get to see Gotham on just a regular person level, I think is something that people need to kind of go into more with content going forward. So he's gotten a super villain.
Exactly what I said when we listened to the first episode.
Exactly what you said.
No, the thing is, because also we agree with you.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, we agree with you. We were disagreeing. We agree with you back then. But one thing that is really fascinating to have outside of Batman, anything else, or with Batman, just the idea of what would it be like to be a regular ass person with no special powers whatsoever and being presented with some like uber powerful, crazy ass villain. It's like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with this. They do that in anime from time to time, but to have that kind of a thing in an American storytelling is very rare.
Well, Otis will know. He's from Chicago. Why don't you tell us?
I mean, dude, what? I don't know how that correlates to anything.
So like, you got niggas got super villains and shit in Chicago.
Super villains in Chicago. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the supervillains in Chicago are usually police, but we're not gonna go there today.
Oh yeah. Good night, everybody. Good night. That's it. We got to have before they end us.
Are there any closing remarks on these 2 episodes of 5 and 6?
I still think the quality is there. More quality when it comes to like the effort that they put into the voice acting minus Winston Duke. Well, no, I can't even say he didn't try. He definitely tried, but he just tried in a way that he shouldn't have. Yeah. Lance Reddick, I mean, I wish we would get more of him, but we know he's a figment of Bruce's imagination.
Yeah. That's a shame.
Yeah, like I said, the dynamic between Barbara and Riddler has been the best thing about the series, like completely. Like it's honestly could have been just about them and had Batman as a side piece, like in the background, and I wouldn't have been upset about it. But bottom line, I mean, I'm definitely looking more to content like this. I really enjoy like podcasts in this fashion where you're actually like hearing the story instead of just like watching it on television. It's like, I mean, you get to kind of create the image of exactly what it looks like and what's happening in your brain. So I mean, I feel like this is a type of content that is not necessarily easy to replicate, but I mean, it's something that they can make consistently if there's interest in it. Right. I don't know. I want to see more.
And there's a lot of these on Spotify. I've found at least like 3 to 4 more since I started watching this one that Spotify suggested me. Like besides the Wolverine one you showed me, I think there were like 2 other DC ones. I can't remember what it was on the top of my head, but they have a lot of these type of podcasts on Spotify in particular.
Oh, sure. I mean, because podcasts are, they've gotten really, really big over the years too. So yeah, that's a lot of money that, and they know that. And I agree with Otis that it's being able to have a kind of the old school radio play in your ears is kind of a fun way to experience storytelling. It's fun too. Like if you have, I listened to one of the episodes while I was editing something, right? But editing a story and kind of looking through the story, the actual images from the comics from kind of for a client and everything. I was like, it actually kind of just adds it's a fun ambiance to things having that around. So yeah, I definitely enjoy it. And I looked up the writer for this is David Goyer. So David Goyer, as you all know, he wrote lots of live action. Yeah, like he wrote lots of live action superhero movies. He wrote some live action Batman movies too. Mm-hmm. So actually that's why the script actually feels like a real script. It may feel too familiar for some. That's fine. I get that, but it actually is a real script. They didn't just hire some random person to just slow down some words. It actually they put time and effort into it.
Yeah, I'll get in my closing remarks in regards to this. I will agree with both you guys' sentiments at the same time in regards to this being a very well produced podcast. Like again, you guys know me with music. Like the music they chose for the certain sound effects and like everything so intricately placed to me that provides a great experience. Like listening to this in my truck or listening to this in my dorm room, like I've always felt like I'm being transported from where I am into the story with all the different sound things that they're playing around with. So it's extremely well produced. And again, the podcast itself as a produced thing is probably like a 10 out of 10 to me, but the only thing bringing it down is just the different things we've spoken about in regards to the story up until this point. But yeah, the podcast itself is great. So if you guys haven't checked it out, well, again, you're watching episodes 5 and 6 on the review. You probably watched a good bit of it beforehand, but if you haven't checked it out or anything like this out, please do so. This is an amazing thing. The actors did an amazing job.
Or listen to it. If you can't watch a podcast, listen to the podcast instead.
So I'm gonna keep saying watch. Like, I'm gonna be fucking contrarian at this point and be militant. Fuck it.
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah, I love it. So thank you again. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been another episode of the Then and Up podcast. We appreciate you guys for giving all the support you have up to this point, and we hopefully can get your continued support going forward. So thank you very much. We'll see you guys next time.
Houdini.
Why Winston Duke? Like, of all the